Welcome to the first of two modules on resolving conflicts with stakeholders. If you've been in product leadership for any length of time, you've undoubtedly been caught in the middle of competing priorities, differing objectives, and sometimes heated disagreements. These conflicts are inevitable in our role, and they're a sign that you're doing important work that matters to multiple parts of your organization. In this module, we'll explore why stakeholder conflicts happen, how to navigate the unique power dynamics of these situations, and practical strategies for resolving disputes and transforming them into opportunities for better outcomes. The skills we'll discuss are critical for your success as a product leader. Research consistently shows that leaders who excel at stakeholder conflict resolution deliver better results and maintain stronger relationships throughout their organizations. Let's start by examining why these conflicts arrive in the first place. Different departments naturally have different success metrics and priorities. In an ideal world, your executive leadership would perfectly align objectives across the organization, ensuring that everybody's departmental and team-level goals support one another. But more often, you end up with different teams having competing goals or goals that are in tension with one another. For product, your priority might be the user experience, focusing on what users need to accomplish and making that seamless. For sales, it might be landing a specific client or hitting their revenue targets, even if that means building features that only benefit 10% of your users while neglecting what the other 90% want. Not long ago, I was facilitating a major migration project. We were changing our front-end and back-end tech stack, redesigning everything and learning new technologies, all on a tight deadline. Engineering wanted to improve performance, do it inexpensively, and deliver quickly. Design wanted to revolutionize everything, making it mobile first and creating a beautiful experience with a responsive layout that would give us flexibility for the future. Meanwhile, sales were pushing to expand revenue with new features that needed to be developed simultaneously with this migration, which was already consuming 150% of the team's time. Everyone was working 60-hour weeks, and sales had promised clients that certain features would be ready by specific dates. It was the perfect storm, trying to build the plane while flying it. Research consistently shows that the most common sources of stakeholder conflicts include differing objectives and priorities, resource allocation battles, timeline versus quality trade-offs, and communication gaps. Resource allocation battles are particularly challenging. When budgets and team capacity are limited, departments often compete for these resources, with each advocating for their projects at the expense of others. In our migration example, each stakeholder believed their piece was the most critical. Engineering needed time for technical debt, design wanted to create a future-proof experience, and sales needed features to close deals. Then there's the timeline versus quality trade-off. This is that perpetual tension between speed and quality, the classic iron triangle of project management: time, resources, and scope. You can typically pick two, but they're always in tension with each other. If you want something faster while maintaining high quality, you might need more people or money. It will take longer if you keep the same resources, but want higher quality. And if you cut scope or reduce quality, you can do it faster with the same team. Communication gaps and misalignments also fuel conflicts. Stakeholders frequently operate with incomplete information, leading to assumptions and misunderstandings. When people don't understand why decisions were made or what other work is happening, they fill in those gaps with their own narratives, usually unfavorable ones. Navigating these stakeholder conflicts is crucial for product leaders. The better you are at it, the more valuable you are to your organization. It's one of the key skills distinguishing successful product leaders from struggling ones. Handling conflicts with executive stakeholders requires understanding the unique considerations of organizational hierarchy. It's one thing to go to a marketing manager and say, "This is going to be pushed out a month because we have other priorities." It's another thing entirely when it's a VP, CEO, or COO making the request. Executives typically care about different dimensions of the product than other stakeholders. They're focused on whether the work aligns strategically with company goals, how it affects market position, what competitive pressures exist, whether there are market windows that might close, and, of course, the financial implications of every decision. What this means for you as a leader is that you need to understand these concerns deeply before you can effectively resolve conflicts at this level. I always advise product leaders to pay close attention to records from board meetings or executive leadership discussions. What decisions are being made company-wide? What priorities are emerging? What language are they using to describe the company's direction? This intelligence gathering helps you prepare for potential conflicts before they happen. I often work with product leaders who are surprised by shifts in a company's direction. I'll point out signals from executive communications by saying, "It seems like the company's heading in this direction based on what leadership is saying to the board, so we should be preparing for that now." They'll respond with confusion, though. "We haven't been told to do that. Where are you getting this from?" I'm not reading tea leaves. I'm analyzing what executives say in their board presentations and all hands meetings. They're signaling where we're headed as a company, often looking a year or two down the road. As a product leader, you need to adopt this same forward-looking perspective. While you won't start building everything today, you should start thinking how you'll get from where you are to where the company needs to be. Developing this executive mindset helps you prepare for difficult discussions. When conflicts arise, you can frame issues using business language that resonates with executives, gather data that addresses their specific concerns, and anticipate their objections. Remember that executives are balancing many competing priorities. Understanding their perspective allows you to position your recommendations in ways that acknowledge these broader considerations. When stakeholder conflicts arise, having a toolkit of resolution strategies can help you navigate these situations effectively. One approach I've found consistently effective is identifying areas of agreement before addressing differences. When tensions are high, it's tempting to dive straight into the areas of disagreement, but this often deepens the conflict. Instead, start by explicitly acknowledging what you agree on: the importance of customer satisfaction, the need to grow revenue, or the value of maintaining technical quality. This creates common ground and reminds everyone that you're ultimately working toward shared goals. For example, in a conflict between product and sales about feature prioritization, you might say, "We both want to create a product that customers love and drive revenue growth. We both recognize that this particular client represents a significant opportunity. Where we seem to differ is in how to balance their specific requirements with the needs of our broader user base. Let's talk about how to move forward." This framing changes the conversation from adversarial to collaborative. Another powerful strategy is to shift discussions from solutions to outcomes. Stakeholders often come to you with specific solutions in mind. "We need to add feature X," or "We need to redesign page Y." Instead of immediately accepting or rejecting these suggestions, probe deeper to understand the outcomes they're trying to achieve. Ask questions like, "What problem would this feature solve?" or "What metrics are you trying to improve with this change?" You can focus the conversation on shared goals rather than specific implementations. When dealing with executive stakeholders, come prepared with options rather than just problems. Executives are looking to you for solutions, not just identification of issues. Present a clear recommendation along with alternatives. "Here's option 1, which I recommend because it balances speed and quality while addressing our most pressing customer needs. There's also option 2, which might be preferable if our primary concern is minimizing short-term development costs." This approach shows that you've thought through the problem thoroughly and gives the executive a clear decision framework. Don't forget the power of aligned incentives in preventing and resolving conflicts. When different teams have competing metrics, tension is inevitable. If marketing is measured solely on lead generation, while product is measured on user engagement, they'll naturally pull in different directions. Work with leadership to create shared goals and metrics that encourage collaboration rather than competition when possible. In situations where formal incentive alignment isn't possible, I've found success in working horizontally with other leaders to create informal alignment. Might say, "Let's agree amongst ourselves what our shared goals are and find ways to support each other in achieving them." This peer-level coordination can be surprisingly effective, even without changes to formal performance metrics. In this module, we've explored the complex landscape of stakeholder conflicts and developed strategies for navigating them effectively. We've seen that disputes often arise from natural organizational tensions, differing priorities, resource constraints, communication gaps, and misaligned incentives. We've discussed how to approach conflicts with executive stakeholders by understanding their perspectives and communicating in ways that resonate with their strategic concerns. We've also explored practical conflict resolution techniques, like focusing on interests rather than positions and presenting options with recommendations. Remember that some level of stakeholder conflict is inevitable in product development. It can even be healthy when channeled constructively. different perspectives and priorities, when managed effectively, lead to better products that address more dimensions of value. Your role as a product leader isn't to eliminate all conflict, but to ensure that conflicts are productive rather than destructive. Our next module will explore how to effectively mediate stakeholder conflicts and build stronger relationships after resolving disputes. We'll look at communication practices that prevent misunderstandings, techniques for successful mediation, and strategies to rebuild trust when relationships have been strained. As you reflect on this module, consider a recurring stakeholder conflict you're facing. How might you reframe it by finding common ground and focusing on shared outcomes? What options could you present that address the underlying interests of all parties involved? These questions will help you put these concepts into practice in your own work.